Hi, I'm Jamie Kitchen. I'm the training manager at Danfoss. In this video, we're going to look how to do the basic programming of the Optyma controller for a walk-in freezer. Now, this freezer is going to have a space temperature of -10 and utilize temperature terminated defrost. To do the initial programming, we first need to select the desired program. And to do that, we can use the wizard template, which will give us the various parameter values and actions so we can decide on which one best serves our needs. This gives the controller the flexibility to match most of the application requirements without having to do further programming, and this results in a quick setup and saves time. Now, using an image of the program template, let's select a program for a freezer that uses a solenoid valve in the liquid line, which is controlled by the thermostat, and this controls the flow of liquid to the evaporator. Now, we're also going to use temperature terminated defrost rather than time. Since the low pressure control will have sole control of the compressor, we do not need to use a controller relay for this. Based on all of these requirements, we're going to use program 3 in the wizard parameters list. So let's look at this list and identify the values that lead me to this decision. So here you can see I have highlighted solenoid plus compressor. This will have electric defrost. The evaporator fans will be controlled. And you can see to the right of this, there is a list of parameters with various numbers beside them. If you look at the next image, we have the definitions for what all of these actually mean. So starting with PD, we see a 0, which means that the requirement for a confirmation signal, which is a digital input, to the controller from the low pressure control is deactivated, as the controller will not be directly controlling the compressor based on this signal. In other words, the low pressure control will be controlling the compressor directly. Next, we see that O00 is 1, which tells us that relay auxiliary 1 will open and close on a call for cooling if the normally closed and normally open contacts are used. However, we will not need these contacts, as we will once again be controlling the compressor with the low pressure control. I00 tells us that the required number of temperature probes will be 2, which is in our case, we'll be using a second temperature sensor on the evaporator because we have temperature terminated defrost. I10 is 0, which means that digital input 1 is deactivated as noted in PD. This means that we do not need to have a low pressure control signal there because once again, the controller is not controlling the compressor. I11 is 0, but is not relevant as this function is deactivated. And I20 is deactivated, but we could have used it for any number of functions just by selecting the desired parameters, such as 1 for door contact, which would have told us if the door was left open, for example. I21 is whether the signal activated on an opening or closing contact if we were to use it. D1 tells us that for program 3, the maximum defrost time is 20 minutes, and this is the default value. D7 is the type of defrost. 0 tells us it is electric resistance. Finally, F3 is 0, which means the pans will be powered off during defrost. When the controller is first powered up, it will enter the wizard mode and will display INL, flashing with 0. If the controller has been powered up before, as in our example, the wizard will not start automatically. We will then need to use the following procedure to start the wizard again. Press and hold the standby button for 3 seconds and wait until the unit completely halts temperature regulation. Note that the indicator light will light up permanently. Press the following keys in sequence: up, down, and set. The INL sign should appear on the screen. Once INL is displayed, press the up button to select the number of the program to be used and press set. In this example, we will select program 3. So we have now selected a cooler freezer with electric defrost. SP will display it on the controller. Press set and then use the down button to scroll down in value until -10 is displayed. Press set. So let's scroll down here to -10. Hit set. Since this is not the first time that we have done this wizard. When we just complete that last step, the display will show the message DFP, which is default parameters, and you need to choose between two options. 0, which will only the parameters included in the wizard will be modified, in other words, the ones that we just did, or 1, which is parameters modified by the wizards will be changed, all other parameters will return to their factory setting. We will press 0 as we only want the values in the wizard that we modified to be changed. So since it's flashing 0, hit set, and the controller will reset itself, and we hit escape, hold that button down there for a second or two until the controller goes back into control mode. And we are done. We have set basic programming. In the next video in our series, we'll be demonstrating how to program using the extended menu. Now this menu has far more parameters available to modify. So please join us for the video 4 in this series, Advanced Programming. Thank you for watching our video. For more information on the Danfoss Optyma Controller, please visit the link in the description below.